the reason God is telling you to take all these steps, right? The reason you're supposed to listen to the things that he's telling you is so that you can be prepared for the journey he's about to put you through. Or you can be prepared for the point that he has built you for, right? Your gift coming to fruition, right? The purpose of your life coming to fruition. But if you didn't take those steps or you didn't listen to everything God told you to do, there's going to be a part of that journey or part of that battle that you are not built for.
What up, what up, what up? We back. Welcome to another edition of Freewenow.
Till it's backwards.
Yes, Sirski. And listen, today we trying to save your people life today.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? And so we're talking about Genesis 7, all right? Noah's Ark, right? But before we get into that, what you got for the people?
Hey, man, the problem isn't what you don't know. It's what you do know that isn't true. Your job as a human is to seek truth and not just believe what anybody tells you. Take the time to develop your own mindset and own view of everything.
Yeah, bro. I think one of these episodes, we're going to get all your quotes and we're just going to go through the quotes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the episodes we need to do. But all right, look, chapter 7 today, Genesis chapter 7, right?
7.
As you know, we're walking through the Bible just chapter by chapter, right? There's no real I guess strategy. We're just trying to get familiar with it and study the Bible from a clear canvas, right? A blank canvas. So today we're talking about Noah's Ark, right? And we're gonna be going through the things that stood out to us, some lessons and guidelines that we're super excited about that we learn from, right? That we hope you guys learn from as well, right? So what are some things, man? And I guess a theme or an overall message that kind of like stands out to you that we can give to the people before we even get into it.
So, I mean, before we even go directly into the verses, one of the things that is being said is that Noah follows all the directions of God, right? So I'm not going to go right into my verse, like you said, just the overall view, but Noah follows all the directions of God. So when you're going through your life, you must take every step as it comes. You can't just skip and rewind and go back and forth. You need to go through all the steps that are given to you.
No, for sure. I think a message that stood out for me, bro, is, a lot of times, even our parents, right, they'll tell us to do something. Especially our generation, we want to know why. Yeah. Like a lot of times we want to know why.
Why do we do this? Why do we do that?
Why? You want me to do this? Why?
Yeah.
Right? And our parents sometimes say, because I said so.
Yeah.
Because I told you to do so.
Because it's grown folk business.
It's grown folk business, right? But what I realized with that, bro, a lot of times when they say that, it's because even if they told us, we wouldn't understand.
We wouldn't understand.
You know what I'm saying? And if they told us and we didn't understand, we wouldn't still see the bigger picture for what they were trying to build us for. Yeah. You feel me?
A lot of times you just don't have time to give the explanation.
And you do sometimes.
It may be time critical. Like I need it right now. Like don't ask me why, I'll just do it.
I need it right now. Right? Yeah. So on that note, right? I realized, bro, that like when God tells us to do something, we don't have to know why immediately, right? And he's not also telling us this just because I'm God and you're a human being. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for everything. You know what I mean? Like he's very intentional. And just because we don't understand it or we don't get a why immediately, it's important to listen to him because everything he's telling us is literally trying to save your life.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? Like literally it's trying to save your life. All right, so let's get into it, bro. What you got?
All right, so I'm going to go straight to verse 5, right? Chapter 7, verse 5. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah did according to all the Lord that commanded of him.
Right.
All right, so let's just take this straight out of the Bible and put it towards your life, right? When you're given directions or when you choose a path in life, you don't get to choose just to do the easy parts. You don't get to choose just to do it when you want to do it. You have to take every single step that comes and you have to do every single step, right? There's no skipping steps because it makes the structure of what you're building weaker. There's no taking shortcuts because a lot of times
skipping steps because it makes the structure of what you're building weaker. We in the schools.
Gotta slow down, right?
Slow down. No, don't speed over that. If you building a house, y'all can, we got a timeline to meet, but don't be rushing over that foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't rush that.
You realize when you rush, you, like you said, you mess up on things, right? You get careless, and there's no taking shortcuts, because a lot of times, yeah, these shortcuts may give you to a destination faster, but your journey becomes longer because you don't learn the lessons that you're supposed to, right? But just going straight back into the Bible, he did according to all that the Lord said him to do, right? He didn't start building the ark and God said, hey, make it 45 and I'm gonna make it 44 cubits, right? Because I don't want to put that extra hour or that extra year, because he was working on this ark for a long time. It wasn't just a day build, right? It was for years and years and years he was working on this ark, right? He could have got to 44 cubits and said, I'm not putting in another year, right?
I'm at 44. Like, let's just stop here.
That's enough. That's almost what God said, right? But that doesn't show you how those different things can literally lead to destruction. Maybe he made the ark at 44 cubits, right? They get on the ocean, it doesn't have the proper leverage or the proper buoyancy to stay afloat, right? Because he didn't listen to all the directions that were given to him. So I'm telling you, when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to life, you have to do every step. There is no skipping.
Bro, on that note, right? I just looked it up on Google, right? And you said, how long did it take Noah to build the ark? I just looked it up. A couple of sources say 75 years. A couple sources say 100 years, right? So we'll just do a conservative one. We'll do 75, right? 70, bro. Most people don't even live to the age of 75.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Imagine, and we talk about also about Abraham, right? He didn't have his first kid until he's 100. 100
years old, having kids.
Right? So when we're reading these in the Bible, bro, like sometimes we just see a verse.
Yeah.
And so we read it and it takes us 30 seconds to read the verse. So sometimes it takes a minute and it takes really deep diving into the verse to understanding, like, bro, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Bro, imagine, bro, I'll be 27 next in a few days, right? 70, and I get frustrated because what we trying to do on the podcast, you know, invest in, you know, buying a crib, or like, oh, something fell through with the escrow, or like, you know, I want to invest in these stocks, or I want to own commodity, whatever, right? And I'm like, why am I not at this position? Why don't I have this, that, and the third? Bro, 75 years to build a ship that you ain't never seen rain before?
Yeah.
Imagine doing something for 100 years, bro. And God said, nah, keep doing it. I'm going to give you all these specific instructions for 100 years, and you've never seen any. You don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Bro, that's deep, bro.
It's big because the reason God is telling you to take all these steps, right? The reason you're supposed to listen to the things that he's telling you is so that you can be prepared for the journey he's about to put you through. Or you can be prepared for the point that he's built you for, right? Your gift coming to fruition, right? The purpose of your life coming to fruition. But if you didn't take those steps, or you didn't listen to everything God told you to do, there's going to be a part of that journey or part of that battle that you are not built for, because you didn't take the time to understand that what God was telling you was not just so that your life could be easy, right? It was so that you could be great when the moment presented itself.
On that note, bro, about like being prepared. Imagine if he would have built that, and like you said, took shortcuts.
Yeah,
they would have died.
He was destroying everything that God put into it if he would have took shortcuts.
Imagine this, right? God has prepared us for some things, or has told us to prepare for some things, and we took shortcuts. And then when it doesn't work out, we say, oh, why have you forsaken us? Why did you leave me? Why did you abandon me? When it's like, God's standing on business. If he tell you something, he's not going back on it.
He's not.
So you can either listen to the preparations that he told you, or you can end up literally sinking and dying, right? Because you didn't follow his instructions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what in your life is God trying to prepare you for, right? That you're trying to take shortcuts around, right? When in reality, he's trying to save your life because you don't see the why in the beginning.
And one big thing that I don't want people to glaze over, like you said, we in the school zone.
School zone, gotta drive slow.
If Noah himself would have took shortcuts, everybody on the ark would have died.
Everybody.
So a lot of times people don't realize that the shortcuts you take are short endings to other people's lives, right? These are the things that affect other people more than they may affect you. You may literally take some of the greatest things out of people's hands because you didn't want to do what you were supposed to do. You didn't want to take this step. You wanted to take this shortcut. You wanted to waste this time. Everything that you do should not always be about you, right? You should prepare yourself to deal with these things, but it's not always about you. A lot of times the why for what you're doing something has to be something more than who you are.
That's literally the definition of a why. I got to have something outside of myself that's going to get me up in the morning.
Yeah.
I have to have something outside of myself that's going to allow me to build this ark for 100 years.
Yeah.
for 75. I gotta have something outside, because if it's on me, I'll be like, you know what? It's cool.
I'll do it tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'll be arrogant and think that God owes me another day of life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be cocky and think that like, oh, okay. Yeah, I got time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got time.
God told me to do it, so I'll do it when I want to.
What if we talking about I got time and being cocky and arrogant about having just whatever? What about after 50 years of Noah's like, man, it's been 50 years.
I'm done.
I'm out. Imagine if you quit in the middle. Imagine if he would have stopped at 74 years if it took him 75, or 99 if it took him 100.
Yeah.
And that next year, it was the year that it happened. You know what I'm saying? What if it's that next step? You never know when that next step or that next rung on the ladder is to take you over the top.
Yeah.
There's like this meme that went around.
I know I was about to bring that up too.
You know what I'm saying? And so a guy searching for treasure, searching for diamonds or whatever, right? And he's in a tunnel. And you know what I'm saying? He's chopping away at the dirt, chopping away at the mud. And he's like, man, I'm trying to find these gems. I need these treasures, bro. Listen, y'all told me it was here. I'm digging and I don't see it. And you done cleared this whole path up to here. And you say, I quit. Nah, I'm leaving. It ain't here. Y'all lied to me. It's not for me. Then the next person comes, digs a little bit further and finds the gems.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like in your life, what do you know you're supposed to be doing? What has God given you instructions to prepare your life for, and you quit? Or you're thinking about quitting?
What is it?
What is it in your life that you know God said, hey, if you do what I told you to do, at the end of this, you will be rewarded. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel if you follow what I'm saying.
You know what's crazy too about that? It takes less energy to sustain something. So sustain doing work, it takes less energy than it does to stop and start again. I'm telling you, like, have you ever been running?
I was just about to say that.
You ever been running?
Not a fan of cardio.
And you get up to your speed, or you get up to your jogging point, right? You're feeling comfortable, you're going, and then you stop. And then now you have to put that amount of energy that you took to even get to your point back into starting back up. And now you're months behind where you were supposed to be, or weeks behind yourself. Same thing. When you're in the gym, you're lifting weight, you're consistent.
Bro, we were in the gym yesterday morning,
putting it in. 6 months, right? You didn't put it in the gym, lifting weight. You finally got to this bench press that you've been waiting to get towards, right? Finally got it. Then you stop. Now, trying to get back to that weight is a little bit harder than it was getting to it in the first place, right? Bro. Every single step, everything God tells you to do, you got to do it, and you got to consistently do it.
I'm thinking about even in the middle of a rep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got it all the way up, you know what I mean? And then you just kind of give up.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just went that extra 50%. You know what I'm saying? If you
that
went
extra 25 years.
That extra, you know what I'm saying? What if you just push through that extra instead of now you got to rack it. Now you got to come and unrack it. Now come all the way down and go all the way back up when you could have just like finished out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, that's huge, bro. That's definitely huge. The first thing that stood out to me was Genesis 7:1. Right, like, could your house be saved off your actions alone?
Wait, say that again.
Could your actions, right, save your house? Could your actions alone be the reason that God saves your house? Could your actions alone, nobody else, if God said, okay, boom, Hassan, just based off your actions alone, I'm going to save your family. Could your actions alone save your family?
Can't point fingers at this point.
It's on you. What if everybody in your household, what if everybody in your family, everybody in your crew, everybody, you know what I'm saying, in your mob, all of your disciples, right? Everybody in your inner circle was like, listen, we're going to pull our weight and we're going to make sure that our actions alone will be able to save the family. Our actions alone will be able to save our crew. Our actions alone. I know we're going to lean on each other. We're going to have everybody's back. But if everything was to hit the fan and it was left on me, could my actions alone be the reason why we still living? Right? And so it says in Genesis 7:1, right? And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous. I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Right? And that stood out to me because in the generation that we're in right now, how many people's actions on their own will be able to save their family? Right. So in this time, the reason why God's even destroying the earth is because he's unhappy with this generation that's on earth. He's unhappy with the people and everything that they're involved with. They're going against God's word. They're perverting everything. Right. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on, which kind of mimics today. It's a little parallel to today. If you just walk outside or go on social media and you see all the things people are talking about, everything that people's engaged in, there's no real boundaries, there's no real standards, there's no real guidelines. Everything's okay. Everything's about feelings. Everything's about emotions. There's no one that you should have to answer to, right? There's no consequences. You should be able to just do this and live free, and everything is your truth and their truth and his or her truth and them truth and its truth, right? There's no the truth, right? That mimics what was going on in that time period.
Yeah.
So that's why that verse stood out to me. So I'm thinking to myself, living in a time period that was low key similar to the time period of Noah, will my actions alone stand out to save my family?
That is some very huge stuff, right?
You know what I'm
because
saying?
it makes you look inside, right? And really to take that moment to self-evaluate the things that you've done that you know you're not supposed to, and the things that you've done that you know you are. And a lot of times, honestly, I don't think many people can come up and say my actions alone will save my family. I don't think there's very many people. I know there's a lot of shortcomings that I've had where I can look and I'd be like, yeah, God would look at some of these things and be like, it's not enough.
It's not.
It's not enough.
You know what I'm saying?
And we're not saying this to say that your actions are the only one that matters, but your actions do matter, right? Of course, you want everybody else to uphold their end of the bargain, right? Same thing with this podcast, me and Hassan going, like, just my actions alone aren't going to carry this, right? You know what I'm saying? Ours together do, right? But if he does his part and I'm so focused on him doing his part that I don't do my own, then I'm bringing the team down. Or he focused so much on me doing my part and not doing his own, then he's bringing the team down, right? So you have to understand that, yes, you want everybody to uphold their end of the bargain. But if you're not upholding your end, why would you even consider what anybody else is doing? Why are the people that are not doing the things they're supposed to do so quick to comment on when somebody else isn't?
No, for sure, bro.
Come on.
And this word righteous, right? Like, I don't want to get it confused. We are saying actions, right? But your actions are just a sum of your thoughts, right? And a sum of your thoughts are just where your heart is, right? So when they say righteous, they're meaning like just. They're meaning like honest. They're meaning like your character. So when we say actions, I don't want you to get it confused and think like, oh, you can't mess up, or you have to be perfect, right? There's no room for mistakes. No, that's not what we're saying, right? We're saying righteousness in your actions because of your heart. You know what I'm saying? Righteousness really meaning your heart has now led to you taking the actions in your life, and the way you behave in your life allows you to listen to God to build an ark for 100 years, and you save your family based off of some God told you that you ain't never seen before. You feel me? Like, what if God told you to do something that ain't never been done on earth before, but you so scared because it's never been done, it's never been seen, that you don't even have the righteousness or the heart to just believe God no matter what? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I mean by that, right? So that's a thing that stood out to me reading. I'm like, man, this is super relevant.
Very relevant.
You know what I mean? Because, like, that's how we living right now. If I was to go out and say, you know, like, I'm doing this, that, and the third because I'm trying to align my life with God, whatever, like, well, you know, how do you feel about that? Like, what do your emotions say? I know this is what this say, but, like, I know you woke up today and you had a rough day yesterday, but, like, what are your feelings telling you?
Yeah.
And you have a right to your feelings. You have a right to your emotions. You got a right to feel a certain type of way, right? That's what everybody says. You got a right to feel like that. You got a right to have this emotion.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Which is also why I try not to fall into the trap of egging on or getting on people for one wrongdoing, right? Social media has given us a snapshot of people's lives. Right. So we see one wrongdoing and we immediately believe they're evil, or that they don't do anything good. And we're immediately like jumping on, oh, how could they do this? How could they do that? How could they do that? But they don't have a full analyzation of the journey that they went through, right? So this is important. Both of these verses support themselves. Noah's a righteous man, and then we talk about following in everything that God says, right? It's about the journey. It's about taking it step for step, right? A lot of times we're just seeing the parts of the journey that God has given them to make them better.
You don't see everything that they're doing behind the scenes.
You don't.
We just see that his family's being saved. We don't see the 100 years of him literally lifting an ark, lifting whatever, all the materials, you know what I'm saying, nailing everything together, you know, putting it, like, we don't see all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just see the happily ever after of everybody in our head getting on the ship and being saved.
Yeah. We don't see the times where he probably got frustrated building the ark.
Right.
Where he was mad, where somebody didn't do something the right way and he was getting ready to lose it. Like, we don't see all of this build up to get to the great things that it ends up being.
Right. No, for sure.
So that's very important.
And imagine that, bro. You building something for 100 years. We just talked about the generation that he was in. So imagine you being by yourself, doing something based off God's instruction that had never been seen before. Imagine all the people talking about them. Mm-hmm. Imagine in this today's age, imagine all of the comments. Imagine somebody making a reaction video to you doing what God told you to do. Mm. Imagine, you know what I'm saying, your family being like, why are you doing that? Your friends being like, why are you doing that? Imagine losing friends or even relatives or people that you thought was your family, people that you grew up with from day one, and you start changing your life to get on God's alignment, to get in God's instruction, and everything that they're gonna say about that.
They got a remark.
Everything that you do, you know what I'm saying? Like here come. Imagine you building something. And I'm telling you, hey, this is why I'm building it, and it has never been done before, right? They ain't never seen it. I've never seen it. Someone like, well, how is that supposed to be done? Well, why are you building something that has never been done before? Like, we haven't even seen that before. Why are you doing that?
It ain't never rained from the sky, stupid.
Right, like dummy, goofy. Go, hey, look, he crazy, man. That man's so crazy, man. Look, he over there building. Ain't nothing. People have their phones out. Look at him over there building. Ain't nothing going on. Look, he talking about it's gonna rain from the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like, but on a day in and day out, let's not speed by 100 years. Like, if you do something for a few weeks straight, like even in our lives, bro, and like even just like being disciplined with money. And like, we made a conscious decision this weekend that we were gonna stay disciplined, and we did it for a few days. Imagine 100 years of those individual days of becoming disciplined. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Imagine 100 years, 75 years of each day you have to look in the mirror and be like, I know I may not see it now, but I'm going to trust God. I'm going to keep going. Yeah. I know what they're saying right now. I know that everybody's making a reaction video of me. I know everybody's commenting on my posts. I know I'm blasted on CNN. I know I'm blasted on Fox News. I know I'm blasted on every social media and every news outlet known to man. But I'm going to go with God. I know I may be ridiculed for this. I know I may be, you know what I'm saying, even alienated and kicked out of certain communities, because I'm going with God. I know I may even lose my job because some things I'm not standing for because I'm going with God. Like, imagine that, yo.
It's commitment.
Bro, that's commitment, bro. That takes a lot, bro. That's not just something that you get overnight. All right, next thing. What else we got?
All right, so I'm going to jump up to verse 16, a very important verse, right? And a lot of people are not about to like what I'm about to say. Sorry. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. So let's take out the first part of that verse. And they that went in male and female of all flesh. Man and woman is the only way it's supposed to be done.
Facts.
Not man and man, not Facts. Woman and woman, not trans man and trans woman, not trans woman, trans man. It's not it, right? And don't get me wrong when I say this. I have people who are homosexual or gay that I love and I care for. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean I agree with all of their decisions? No, but I still love them to death and I would do anything for them. But even with that being said, it's not right.
It's not right.
It's supposed to be male and female. Within male and female is the breath of life. That is how life is made. That is how life is given. A male and a female, a woman having a baby from the seed of a male. That is how we're supposed to live these lives. That is how a house is supposed to be structured. That's how you have healthy kids. That's how you have healthy relationships. That's how you build things, right? That is what God is telling us, that a man and a woman should be together. And that is how you build a family. And that is how you progress life. So let's not get it confused what they try to do with the rainbow and make it about homosexuality when it's not. It's a covenant that God gave to Noah that he would never destroy the world by flooding it again. It's a covenant. So don't try to pervert what God is telling us into something else, right? To kind of distract us from the true meaning of what the rainbow means.
Right.
So understanding male and female is how it's supposed to be done. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So don't be coming and attacking me. And if you do, I don't care.
Right. You have to stand for something, bro. Like at some point in your life, you're gonna have to stand for what they say, stand for something or fall for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at one point, we're gonna have to cut it off and be like, nah, we don't agree with that. We're not saying, hey, go beat them up and rob them, you know what I'm saying, and point them out and make fun. Like, no,
It's not
we ain't
it.
saying none of that.
That is not our job.
At the same time, if you ask me something, what do I say? I'm standing on that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know some things I done my parents didn't agree with.
Yeah.
But they still love me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in your life, some things that the people that you love, you don't agree with everything they do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you stop loving them or
At
you're
all.
anti whatever that person is because they did something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not anti you because you did a behavior that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Or I'm not phobe this because you did something that I didn't like.
That's a childish way of thinking.
Bro.
To try to divert the real comment or the real meaning of what we're saying to justify what you're doing. That's not the point of this.
It's like you don't even address really the content or the message of it. You're addressing that person to try to like I guess devalue the truth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna attack Keith instead of attacking what he said because I know what he said is true and I don't have a real reason to disagree with what he said. So on my best choice is to attack Keith. So now you start believing anything Keith says is phobe this or anti this because I can't really attack the message.
Because I felt bad about what they said.
And it hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it, bro. When you start making decisions off the temporary, you're gonna sacrifice the long term.
The longevity.
Like in life, all right, we'll take the male and female out of it. Investing, your relationships, a marriage, your family, a career, right? Don't make temporary decisions for the long term, right? Like, don't think temporary when we're in a long-term environment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to go kill somebody because you stepped on my shoes. Or I'm going to go pull out the tool because you called my woman out her name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to go and we're not going to go and jump this person, right? Because they said something we didn't like.
Yeah.
Like, you can't and then be like, oh, the system is messed up. Right? Like, you can't make those temporary decisions, right, off of a temporary feeling.
Yeah.
Because that's gone. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow.
Here today and gone
know what I
tomorrow. All right. Jumping back into the end part of that verse, right? Another thing I had to say. As God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. A lot of people didn't catch that Noah ain't closed the ark.
I caught that too. That's the same thing that I was like,
Noah didn't close the ark.
he didn't give him a lock.
God shut him in. So a lot of times that means that the bridges that you burn weren't bridges that you're meant to burn. God burns the bridges, or he takes you out of an environment that you don't belong in when it is time for you to be removed from that environment. So God knew that Noah was dealing with these people who did not believe in what he was doing for 75, maybe 100 years, give or take, right? But Noah didn't make it upon himself to say, well, let me close everybody else. He said, let me just do what God's doing or telling me to do. And eventually God will take me out in this environment, right? We have to understand that when it is time, God will remove you, or he will remove your reliance on the environment that you no longer belong in.
It's deep, bro. Because I'm gonna give it in a practical sense, right? Imagine this, and I had this in there, right? Like you said, the Lord shut him in.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm not even gonna give Noah the opportunity to let somebody guilt trip him into letting him on the ark.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna allow Noah to even allow himself or his family to, when things get tough, when things get hard,
People start dying.
you know what I mean? Or I want to get off the ship now. Like,
Yeah.
let me back out. Or like, that's my best friend. Like, do you imagine how many people were crying, trying to, once they
Jump on.
finally start seeing the rain, and once they finally start seeing everything flooding, imagine how many people were trying to climb onto the ship.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when they called the U.S. troops out of Afghanistan.
Oh, they were climbing on
And
the
they were
airplane.
climbing on the planes. And
a
like,
plane that's taking off.
a plane that's taking off. They are climbing. This is it in the Bible. All right. That's why I tell y'all all the time.
It's very relevant.
It's so relevant because the same stuff is happening to this day. right? So when the troops were pulling out of Afghanistan, all right, and people are climbing on the plane to hitch a ride as the plane is taking off,
falling off in midair.
How many people do you think were crying and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry"?
Yeah.
Right? Like growing up, they'd be like, "Sorry ain't worth the," you know what I'm saying? Like saying I'm sorry, I'm apologizing ain't worth the. If you still did this,
Doesn't change the action.
it don't change the action. So it's like, remember, these people are living 800 years, 900 years on the earth per generation. So they had plenty of time to get it right. Right? So don't let, when God takes you out of an environment and he's ascending you to the new levels that you're supposed to go to, God's going to shut the door. You may even try to go back to those same people and be like, "Yo, what's up, big head? Hey, what's popping? What you doing?" Or, "Dang, I missed you." And then you be like, "Dang, they were so cold to me." Or why didn't they respond to my messages? Or why they still treat me like such and such? A lot of time that's because God shut you in.
God shut the door.
God won't even allow you to go back what you came from because he's trying to save your life.
Yeah.
So the Lord shut him in. Imagine all them people crying, bro, trying to climb on the ship.
I'm gonna tell you,
I'm sorry.
The Lord knows we love to spin the block.
Spin the block. God ain't finna let you spin the block.
He knows we finna spin the block, right? That's why he said the Lord shut him in. So that means there wasn't no doorknob on the outside. You couldn't climb up the ark and get to the level where Noah and them family went in and be like, "All right, I'm gonna just open the door." No, the Lord shut him. There was no going back. There was no in and out option. There was no reversal. The Lord made sure that neither Noah nor the people that were outside the ark had the option to revert back to what they had known.
Right.
So understand that God, when it is time, will remove you from that environment. That does not mean that you don't get to put in the work, because Noah put 175 years worth of work to be able to be shut into the ark to be saved. So that doesn't mean you get to skip out on the work and then the God's just going to come along and be like, let me take you away from this environment. That means you work until your hands bleed, until you ain't got no other option, until you can't give up, until it's part of your being, until it's part of your soul, until every day you look in the mirror and you understand that what you are doing is God's work and what God has put you on this earth for. And then when that moment comes and it's time for you to be the great individual, it's time for you to show your gift, it's time for you to speak the word of the Lord, it is time for you to be the outlier compared to all the people doing wrong, God will shut the door and make sure that can't nobody touch you.
Can't nobody touch you. You protected. Like, everybody on that ark was protected. Like, that's such a, like, and it's so important to, like, read the Bible, but not only read it, to read it slowly. Because a lot of times we read the Bible and try to get through the Bible instead of allowing the Bible to get through to us. Right? So, like, if we're reading and we're trying to speed up and we're trying to, I'm just trying to hurry up and get through this verse, then I got to read a chapter a day, so I'm going to read a chapter a day. Well, I'm trying to get the Bible done by 6 months. Slow down and just be consistent in doing something and reading the Bible, right? Like, don't speed up the process. Even with us reading a verse, we can't even speed up reading a verse because we would have missed the fact that God shut them in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord shutting you in is protecting you from all of that manure that's going on. Like, imagine, he said, this, you have been righteous in this generation. So imagine the type of things people are willing to do to get their life saved. Imagine what somebody is willing to do once they see you going to that level, once they see you popping, once they see now the gates are closing, once they see now everything that I was saying is catching up to me, once they see now all the consequences that I thought weren't going to happen are happening, once they see now there's a result to the actions and the behavior that you take. You can't escape it. People call it karma, when really that's just a law that God put on the earth, that you will reap what you sow. Imagine once people start reaping what they sow and you've sowed great seeds and it's time for your harvest. Imagine what people are willing to do to either take you down with them or ask for a hand for you to bring them up. Do you think watching this, after 100 years, let's say this is a movie, and after 100 years, God knows, your closest people, right, that you thought were close to you, or people that you saw, right, and their heart wasn't right. And imagine once that door shuts, A news outlet would be like, oh, look at Noah having no heart.
Shutting the door on everybody.
Shutting the door on everybody. He could have saved those people. You got so much money. Why don't you give money to the hood? You got so much money. Why aren't you having a foundation to give to XYZ group? That's not their assignment. Should you give to the hood? Absolutely. Right? That's not what I'm saying. Don't miss the message. Right? What I'm saying is that a lot of times we see people climb to these great heights. We see people ascend. We see people get on and start popping. And then we start trying to tell them what to do with the assignment that God gave them. Mm-hmm. We start trying to tell people to do with the fruits of their labor, and we didn't labor it.
Yeah.
We start trying to tell people how they should be living their life based on the levels that they're in life that we haven't put in the work to reach.
Yeah.
Or we wouldn't understand because God didn't give us the instructions. So don't start trying to insert your opinion on somebody else's instructions when you ain't even taking the time to get your own.
The crazy thing about what you just said, right? It kind of just hit me, right? A lot of people say when individuals make it, they change up, right? They're like, dang, you changed. You're not who you used to be, right? But the thing is, I think you are who you were always meant to be. The only thing that changed was the people around you's perception of who they thought you could be. Don't miss that. You were always who you were meant to be. The only thing that changed is the people's around you perception of who they thought you could be. So somebody thinking that you could never attain certain things, seeing you put in the work that they're not putting, now they're thinking on the inside, oh, whoa, no. This person's not supposed to leave me behind. I'm supposed to be better than this individual at all times. Well, then you know what? The best way that I can bring him down or she down or we down or them down is to say that you changed. You're different. You're leaving me behind. Why can't I get on the ark? Why can't I come on your journey? Why can't I do this certain things? You know why you can't come? Because you ain't put in the work. So leave me alone.
People look at you strange like you changed, like you worked that hard to stay the same. You know what I'm saying? One of my whole quotes that I like. But like, you right, bro. And it's baffling to me, bro. That do you know how many people will hit me up and be like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about doing a podcast too. I'm gonna start one. They don't know what you don't know what it takes. All right. He don't wanna know, Blue. Right? Like, they don't know the work and the discipline and the sacrifices that you made. They only see your highlight tape. You know what I'm saying? They just see you getting a scholarship and signing on a dotted line. Right? Like you said, people's perception of you change. You don't change.
Yeah.
But their perception of what they feel is capable for your life is what changes.
Yeah.
Right? So like the God shutting them in, what in your life is God shutting you off from? Who in your life is God shutting you off from? Who is he closing on the door in your life? I'm talking to myself right now.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who and what in your life, the same places that you used to go, the same things that you used to do, the same people that you used to be around, the same activities and environment and locations and, you know, even things that you like to do in your pastime that you thought were fun.
It just don't feel the same anymore.
It just don't feel the same, bro. Like, the same things, and it's amazing, bro. Like, I would think, okay, when we were recording at home, I'd be like, man, once we get a studio, it's gonna be da-da-da-da-da-da. Man, once we get some mics, it's gonna be da-da-da-da-da. Once we get a camera, it's gonna be once we get a videographer to do it, it's gonna be blah, blah. You know what I mean? When in like reality is like those feelings and what we thought our lives would be when we got to this point, or when we got to have this, when we start making X amount of zeros in our bank account. In reality, bro, the journey, you change, like you've become the person that you were meant to be so much, like you said, that like that stuff don't excite you no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's fun to me, or what even tastes good changes. Like even with fruit, bro, like now like the juice, like I'm juicing now. So now I'm like craving a juice rather than craving a donut. You know what I'm saying? Or craving some fried chicken, and I'm like craving like a chicken salad. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get to the heights and the levels that God has called you to be, and he shuts you off from those things, it's for a reason. Because you may lose your life or mess around and sink the ship and lose everyone's lives, including yourself, because you didn't shut yourself off. It reminds me of Lot and his wife when God burned the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot's wife is looking back and she turns into a pillar of salt because she didn't close the door and shut herself off from all the things that they used to be, the lifestyle that they used to live, the things that they used to be involved with, the fun, the exciting, the pastime, what I like to do for my hobbies look different now. The people I'm around look different now. When in your life is like that?
Yeah. God knows there's certain things we can't cut ourselves off from. So that's why he does it for us.
Because I ain't gonna lie, I've grown. I'm growing. But I used to be Mr. Spin the Block. But I am growing, right? And not just spinning the block on shorties and females, right? Just spinning a block on things that I used to like. Things that I used to do. Right? Like, man, I ain't had no McDonald's apple pie in a while. Let me go get an apple pie. Bro, we used to hang out, blah, blah, blah. And bro, I see you doing this, that, and the third. Hit me up when you come home. And now I'm like, when I come home, do I hit that person up? Out of just like me being a good dude and a good person, like, let's chop it up? Or like, I'm on other things now. I can't put myself in that environment. Remember, we was talking about like in college when we would go home from being in college, or like even now, like going home, right? And you see people and they see you and y'all had this common ground in the past. And so sometimes people are like, yo, hit me up. Let's kick it and hang out. They showing love. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know who you're involved with in the spaces that you've been in that's going to cause turmoil on my life. So out of protection of me, I can't, bro.
And sometimes it's not even I don't know. It's I do know what you're involved in.
I do know, and I see it.
And I know what environment you're in, so I'm not going to put myself in that.
I can't do that.
Even if I love you as an individual, what you're doing is not something that's productive for my life. So sometimes I got to remove myself from that environment.
I love you, but I love me more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you think I changed because of that, that's cool. God had to shut the door off.
God had to shut the door.
If you think me not wanting to be in those same environments no more with you, or even with fun with me now, right? Like, oh, bro, I'm in town. Like, one of my homies was like, yo, I'm about to be in town. Like, let's hang out and kick it. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what you want to do? They're like, I'm on the West Coast now. I'm trying to hit the club. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get a section. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Where I'm at right now, I'm not on that.
Can't do that.
And I'm not saying I'm not going to those environments. I'm just saying the phase that I'm in right now, I have to be super intentional on where I am, because it's not just about being in the club. It's not about that. It's about everything that comes with that. It's the spending habits that come with that, and I'm trying to save and I'm trying to invest. I'm trying to get a crib. I can't be out buying bottles with you and pouring them out on couches. I can't. You feel me? My goals look different now. My diet, I'm working out. I don't want to be somewhere late, even if I'm not out and drinking or whatever. If you out late at 2, 3 in the morning, you're going to want to get some fast food. Or you're going to want food, and the only thing that's open is something that's unhealthy. And now I got to get up the next day and prepare for a podcast, but I'm sleepy and I'm not preparing the same because I'm hungover. I'm not thinking sharply because the previous night I was out.
Yeah. One vice can lead to a million wrongdoings.
It's a snowball effect.
One vice can lead to a million wrongdoings.
It's a domino effect. It's like that one decision. We know, like that one decision.
Many a nights
of us being like, all right, maybe we'll do it. Then that led to that, and that led to that, and that led to that, and now that, you know what I mean? And now it's the next morning and we didn't accomplish anything we wanted to accomplish because of that one decision that we did way beginning. Now has led to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
We off the soapbox.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Right? But okay, we hit a lot of gems and nuggets, right? Of why, number one, God even chose Noah, on how you can save your family based off your actions alone, right? And how God will shut the door on your past, right? When you have done what you're supposed to do and you trying to spin the block. Right? What else you got for the people? Anything else?
Hey, man, I want y'all to understand. Sometimes a lot of the things that we can say, or a lot of things we may say, seem all over the place, right? That's why you got to rewatch. That's why you got to study. That's why you got to write down, because in the midst of all the chaos, there's a structure. There's a message. There's a reason we're doing this. We take what the Bible's telling us in its totality, and we have to connect our own personal experiences
Right.
to help explain what we're feeling, how it made us feel, and what we envision. So rewatch, rewind, replay, subscribe, write down, because this is what we do and this is what we love to do.
Not facts. Absolutely. What do you say? What they say? Hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that YouTubey stuff, right? But yeah, so like you said, overall, just understand that it's not just about doing the right thing, right? Because there's a reason for everything that God is telling you to do. Follow his instructions. You follow his instructions, it can save your life and your family's life, right? So it's Freewenow
Till it is backwards.
Yeah.